Okay, well, good morning, seventh graders. I hope your test went well. We are on a new chapter. We are now on chapter 11. Okay, and you have until Monday to finish this, so you have 2 days. And it's 11.1. We're on comparing. Okay, and this is on page, and I would definitely turn there, 482. Okay, page 482. I'd turn there. So if you need to pause the video and turn there, go for it. Chapter 11.1, comparing. Okay, and one of the things that we're going to learn in this chapter is integers. Okay, and integers are numbers. They're numbers that can be positive and negative. Okay, so the way that we learn this is by looking at a number line. So integers are numbers that can be positive and negative. So let's look at a number line here. We're going to go all the way across here. We have let's say this is number 0. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it goes on, right? Down here, we're going to have -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. You see, it keeps going that way and this way, okay? So it goes both ways. That's how we know that they are integers. So like -5 is an integer, and so is 5, and so is 4, all these numbers, right? So that's just something for us to keep in mind. 0 is included as an integer, okay? So now when we come to plotting these points, what if I said, I want you to put a dot where 2 is? So I said, find 2. Well, I'd come right here and I just put a dot, right? Now, what if I said find -3? Well, I'd come over here and put a dot for -3. That's pretty easy. If I said find -5, I'd come down here and put a dot at -5. Now, this is where this lesson gets very important, is to realize which one of these is bigger, -5 or -3. Well, the easy thing would be to look at the 5 and say, well, 5 is bigger. 5 is bigger than 3, right? But in this case, it's actually not. And here's why it's not. Because we want bigger is closer to the right. Okay, if you can understand that now, it's going to save you so much time for the rest of math. Bigger is closer to the right. Okay, so bigger to the right. If you can't read that, that's okay, because I'm going to say it many times. Bigger is always to the right. So 2 over here is bigger than -3 down here, because it's further to the right, okay? So if you need to pause that, go back, go for it. So one of the important things that we need to know, not only about the size there, is this definition of the word opposite. Okay, now we easily think of opposite, right? We have up, down, love, hate, right? All kinds of different opposites in our lives. But in a math term, opposite means they have the same distance from 0. Okay, so I draw my number line again, right? I have 0. If I'm at 4, what number has the same distance from 0, but on the opposite side? Oh, that's really easy. -4. Okay, so you see that 4 and -4 are opposites. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. If I said, what is the opposite of -6? You would say, oh, the opposite is +6. So you say -6 and 6, or -1 and -1, or 5 and -5. All right, that's really, really easy. There's some questions on the test, or sorry, on the homework like that, and there will be on the test. But that's super easy, right? What's here in green? Opposite, opposite. What's here in blue? Opposite, opposite. What's here in red? Opposite, opposite. Right? Very, very straightforward. You guys can do it because they're the same distance from 0, right? +1 and -1 the same distance. Cool. Not hard at all to understand. I believe in you guys. One thing for integers, again, if you're looking on page 483 with me, page 483, we have integers. Okay, and the way we usually write them is like -4, comma, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, dot, 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 right? It keeps going. So that's how we write integers. That's the list, right? It goes all the way infinity to the negative. So actually dot, 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 past the 4, infinity to the negatives, infinity to the positives. And there's no fractions, just negative numbers, 0, and then positive numbers. Okay, very straightforward. You guys got it. Now, the last thing we're going to do for homework on this lesson, which is very easy, that gave us a nice starting place, is to compare. Compare numbers, okay? So the best way to do this is with a number line. You'll get used to it, though, as you compare. Let's say that this is 10. We're going to way down here is negative 10, okay? So let's say we compare negative 5 with positive 1. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here at about halfway and say there's negative 5 and positive 1 is right there. Now, which one is bigger, right? If I had negative 5 and then I have a space and I say do a greater than or equal to, which one is bigger? Well, here's the point. Which one is to the right? The 1 is. So the 1 is greater than the 5. Okay, the greater than symbol's open mouth, right, over here. So that's showing that the 1 is greater than the negative 5. Okay, so right is bigger. Okay, if you need to write that down and just constantly remember that, always the one to the right is always, 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 always bigger. Never changes. Always the same. One to the right, always bigger, okay? So let's do another one. Let me erase some of this. So let's do some different numbers. Compare two different ones. Let's compare this right here. We're going to compare 4 compared to negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to 4, and I'm going to go down here to negative 1. Which one is bigger? Well, 4 is to the right, so 4 is bigger than negative 1. Okay, now, ready for some tricky ones here. Let's throw in when we have two negative numbers. So let's say that we have this right here. What if we compare negative 8 with negative, ooh, that's a bad negative sign, with negative 4. Okay, now it's easy to think that the negative 8 is bigger, but it's not. Why is it not? Look, here's negative 4. Where's negative 8? Down there. Which one's bigger? 4 is bigger because it's to the right of the 8. Okay, so you really need to make sure that you remember that as we go over this homework, okay? So very important to remember. It's whichever one is further to the right. So let's use one with 0, just to get some practice with that. What if I said we're going to compare negative 2 with 0? Well, here's 0 right here, and here's negative 2. Guess which one's to the right? 0. So 0 is actually bigger than a lot of problems, okay? 0 is actually bigger than a lot of numbers. Now, this is not an equal to sign, okay? That's just the placeholder. So greater than sign is what we use for that. Okay, I'm going to do one or two more and then let you know what the homework is because this is pretty straightforward. So again, if you use a line, very easy. Okay, pretty soon you'll get used to doing it without a line. So let's compare another number here. Let's compare 10 and negative 1. Well, that's pretty easy, right? Here's 10 and here's negative 1. Obviously, this one's bigger. So we have 10 is greater than negative 1. Okay, now let's compare negative 9 and negative 3. Okay, so here's negative 3. Here's negative 9. Again, negative 3 is bigger. So we have negative 3 is greater than negative 9. Okay, there's our answer. Now let's do another one. Let's do negative 100 and 1. Okay, so negative 100 is way over here. And 1 is right here. Which is bigger? Well, the 1 is. So we have 1 is greater than negative 100. Isn't that weird? The number 100 is, the negative sign changes everything. Okay, so I believe you guys can do that. One final review. If they ask you what is the opposite of 4, if they said the OPP, the opposite, the answer is just negative 4. What's the opposite of negative 100? The answer is just 100. Right? When they say the word opposite, you literally just change the sign. Okay, it's not super hard. So that's just a quick review on that part. Here is the homework. We are on page 484. Can you guys believe that? We made it to 484 and we are not on 10. We are on 11.1. We are doing 1 through 43 odd. Okay, make sure you do odd and not all. but we are doing 1 through 43. Please let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Okay, Mr. H is over and out. Enjoy your weekend.